Okay, so we are recording. Um, this is, again, just to reiterate, this is our bite-sized Google Sites, the Google Slides PD, short and sweet. This is the URL to join the slides, and then the sign-in is right below it. For those of you, I don't know if I've met you two before, but my name is Jackie Patanio, and I work at the Borough Office as an instructional lead. I do most of the ed tech for the district, but I also partner with my colleagues who do science, literacy, math, and all the other content areas. I just float in and out of them. Email me with any questions, anything you have, anything you want to know. This is my contact information. Feel free to shoot me an email day, night. I respond to everything. Um, we're not a big group. Obviously, it's only three of us today, but these are the session norms and just something that I like to do when I either have a big session or a small session. I like to have my graphics to go with sort of the expectations about muting your mic, not because I don't want to hear you, but because, as I just said to you now, I have a lot of background noise. I should be muted, but I am not. But definitely don't mute your conversation. So there is only two of you. So if you do want to talk in the chat or have conversation in the chat, please, I encourage you to. Um, you know, use links that are in the chat. I put the agenda, I put the slides in there. The slides has everything you need, so don't worry about any other links. I'm going to probably learn from you what you know and what your goals are, but just be open-minded. We're all learning from each other. Don't be afraid to try something new, and definitely check in with yourself as we go through the session. So again, this is particularly around Google Slides. So we're going to live within here. The goals are to kind of think about it in terms of how we're presenting to students. What are some new ways that we can use slides maybe outside of just presenting to students, using some of the enhanced features and some of the apps that go across Google for education, and then infusing that into this. Okay. And then really thinking about where this lies inside of our content. Okay. The ISTE standards that it addresses. So if you are not familiar with the ISTE standards, the International Society for Technology Education, there are standards for students, educators, leaders, and coaches. We're going to be focusing on learner 1A and 1B. And that's pretty much about like our personal and professional growth in various areas. So we're kind of expanding on what we know in terms of using slides. And to be honest, I'm constantly growing and learning every day as well when it comes to this. So I mentioned before that this information will be housed elsewhere. This is our resource slide. So this is some of the sites outside of the actual PD that I might be referencing. So this is the Airtable. This is a direct link to where our information will be housed. You could also get there by going to si.strongschools.nyc. Wherever you went to register for this, that's our SIBO website, and on the side it says asynchronous learning link, and there is, I'll show you quickly, a how-to video on how to navigate the Airtable. But the Airtable is a place where you can go and see past PDs in two different versions. So this is one way to view it. This is called Kanban. So if you knew you had a session in October, right? Today's session, once I input it, it'll say at least one record, and it'll have all of the information from the PD on here, including the recording and the slides that we are working from today. When you scroll down, this is another view. It has the same information. You could sort and search, but this has all the titles of all past PDs along with video references to it. So this is a past Snack Bite PD I did, and it gives you what it's attached to, the link to the slides, and a link to the video on YouTube or elsewhere. But just so you know that this will be available on that area once we're done. Stuff for commercial for that. We're not really going to be working from Common Sense today because I don't think we'll have enough time, but that will be for our next session. Google Support Center, I will always point you here because the biggest thing that we do is when we don't know something, we Google it, right? So this link right here, this brings you to the Google Help Center, and the Help Center pretty much tells you everything you need to know in terms of questions when it comes to Google. So this is the place you want to go when you're Googling for help. The Help Center can give you information. You could just start typing in right? Google Slides, and it'll populate the top hits, but you could get more granular and more specific in there. So that's how you Google effectively. And then I will get to the Padlet on the next slide, but this is what we're going to be using for our goals, our share outs, and our reflections. So this is your space. I'm going to keep this open for the rest of the year so that as people start adding to it, there will be lots of different information for everybody to be used and crowdsourced. So you guys are my first in terms of this. So there's nothing on there yet. All right. So this we're calling session 1. And these are the things that we are going to cover in the next probably 35 minutes or so. So it's going to kind of like be like a lightning round. We're going to go over integration of Jamboard, not other apps. We're just going to do Jamboard today, looking at creating, modifying slides and the specifics of it, master slides and things like that. Ordering, linking. Then we're going to go into inserting specific items to enhance our slideshows, or if we're using this for something different, it could be for students to be using it as digital portfolios or digital notebooks. What are they adding in to enhance? And then different presenting tools to be able to support the message that we're giving out and maybe support various types of learners. So what I'm going to ask you to do right now is I'm going to ask you to come on over here to where it says start. So if you are on the slide presentation, there is a click here. So I want you to click here to access the group Jamboard to add your mood meter. Okay. So what I want you to do is just tap on that. So I know that at you ladies, where are you teaching? At Tottenville?
Yes.
Okay. So I do know that you got, some of you have, I'm not sure if a lot, but I know a lot of people are using Jamboard over there. I am going to ask you on the Jamboard right now, just pick one of the words that you're feeling at the moment. You're going to come over here to the side, see where the arrow is pointing. There's a sticky note. And you're just going to put the word on the sticky note and just maybe say why you feel that way, or maybe why do you want to move from the feeling that you're feeling, whatever it is.
Oh, it's a little small.
And what you can do, so you can make it bigger.
Oh yeah, I just did.
Good.
Okay.
And just put your name by it if you want. All day.
Now you click on it.
I might actually change this. Let's see, I'm gonna make it blue to color code it down here. So the reason I like this is because it is integrated into Google as one of the apps. It's super friendly to use if you haven't used it. And it's just a real basic way to do a whiteboard when you are on your Meet, right? Because Google Meet actually has your Jamboard embedded into it now. It's something good that you can throw into any presentation. It really helps kind of make things more visible and make things come to life. So I see, as that Katie, where you're at Tottenville too?
Sorry, I'm still eating. Yes.
I'm sorry. You're also Tottenville. I'm sorry. Well, you can tell me when you're done eating, tell me where you teach. Tell me what you teach.
I teach ISM, a special ed teacher, but in the history department. So right now I have 4 global classes and 1 junior US class.
Awesome. Great. And Sana, what do you teach?
I teach math. I teach geometry this year, 10th graders.
Very nice. All right. So no small feat for high school math, for high school English. It's no, this, everything we're doing definitely takes a lot of time and a lot of thought. So these particular tools like this might help you. It might not help you, but, just different ways of looking at things. So Katie, you are moping.
I just like, if you can tell me like how to use this. I pressed on the box on the green, for example, and then I have to go to the arrow.
So follow me. So see my arrow right here. Follow
Okay.
the arrow. Right over here is a sticky note. Yep. And you're just going to
Okay,
open it
can you
up.
please repeat it because I had the other one open, please? Thank
Sure.
you.
So I'm going to click on the sticky note right here, and you could pick which color you want to type onto and just start put your name in, and then
okay.
you could just write your word. Yep. And then it'll pop up on here.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Okay.
Nice.
What's funny is that your mopiness is actually my spiritedness, because I love this weather. The darker and the danker, the better. I don't know if you could see what I'm wearing. I'm a Halloween person, so I'm fully in black, and I have on my Halloween wear. So
Oh no, I'm like, let me lay down. Call me when it's beach weather, please.
yeah. So I can understand. I can understand how this weather can definitely get some people down. It could be the reason why I feel drained. You know, a little bit of sunlight does go a long way, even though I might despise it. So while this is happening, Sana, you can keep typing. I do
Yes.
just want to show you one thing. And the purpose of me showing you the Jamboard is so that over here, so when I click on more actions, the 3 dots always tell me that there's more to a menu, right? So I like this because I can download this if I want to keep my responses from my students, but I could also save it as an image. So with that, I'm going to click, and Sana, keep typing. I'm just going to do this as a demo.
Yeah.
I'm going to save frame as image. Okay. And down here, you saw that it downloaded. What I can do, and this is traditionally what I do when I'm looking for artifacts, I can come back into my slides presentation, and I could just pop that image in. So if I wanted to be like, hey, this is what we did today, I would come over here because I just downloaded what we did, and I could pop it right into my slides presentation. So for me, it's one of those things where I'm able to memorialize the information and the things that we've done just by downloading it from Jamboard. So that is one of the reasons. And since it was Sana who teaches math, think about like maybe some of the math work that you do, because you can use the writing tool on here, right? The pen, and you could actually do some, granted, it's not as easy with, 2 + 2. It's very high school like. You can't do it. It's not as easy using a mouse, but if somebody has a touchscreen stylus, it definitely makes it easier to work with. But part of what we were going to cover today was just so that you could see how Jamboard works nicely with slides. It's just another way of putting information into that. So Sana, you feel blessed to the fact that I can still teach my students even virtually. That's definitely a nice way of looking at it. Glass is half empty. Glass is half full. Apologies.
Yes, that's me.
Yes, that's it. And then you're right. And you know what? I'm with you. People ask all the time, like, how do you feel? I'm like, oh, and then I'm like, you know what? I woke up today. So
Yes, I like to keep my smile in the morning and think positive.
I agree with you. I woke up today. No matter how bad it is, it could always be worse. So I'm going to bring us back to the presentation. That was part of what I wanted to show you, was that that's how we can use Jamboard. And it was really great to see how you were feeling today. But I do hope that, the day progresses and it does get better for you, even if you are in a good place. I do want to ask you to head down to the step that says next. This Padlet right here, if you say where it says click here, keep this open. So once you tap on it, see how I tapped on it and the link pops up? You're going to want to keep this open, and please disregard all my other tabs in the background. You're going to want to keep this open, so next to either the Zoom or next to the slide deck that we have up. The reason for that is that I'm going to ask you to right now put in a goal you have for yourself for today. So it could be a goal based on what we're doing. It could be a goal that's so lofty we won't attain it today. It could be anything you want it to be. It could just simply be learn how to add in a new slide. It's up to you. But just make sure you put your name attached to it. And put your grade in school, even though I know that already. But keep this open. Even when you're done with it, keep it open in the background, because I am going to ask you to head back on over to it later, possibly for reflection, and then adding in some other items. Because we are working on CTLE credits, and I'm almost positive I can give CTLE credits for this as long as I have sign in and I have interaction. I don't want to make an assumption and say, I know you guys have used Padlet, but I will ask, have you used Padlet?
Not this year, but I know what it is.
Okay. How about you, Sana? Have you used it before?
Where is it? I'm sorry, I was writing. What did you say?
Oh, have you used Padlet before, either in a PD or with your students?
No, this is the first time.
Okay.
And that's the goal of the day, to learn something new.
There we go. So this, just to kind of give a little pitch, you know, I never know if it's, you know, people have used it a million times or if it's their first time. But Padlet is one of my favorite tools. However, it is one of those freemium tools where it used to be totally free, but then now they wised up and realized people will pay for it. So you only get 3 of these pads. This is a pad, 3 of them for free. I pay for it because personally, I think it's one of those things that is so useful and I use it all the time that I don't mind paying the $5 for it a month or whatever it is, because I use it so frequently. But the idea is that for me right now, I'm capturing information on here over a period of time. So it really lends to making, again, kind of like Jamboard, thinking visible. But if you don't have the money, or if the school doesn't have the money, then it definitely does you will incur a cost.
Now, there is a pick a file. Pick over here. Pick a file. Pick file.
In here?
In the Padlet, yeah. Padlet.
Yep. So not to get too far in the weeds, but yes, the reason I like it so much is because you could add files from your computer. You could add links. You could search the web. You could take photos. So again, for anyone who teaches math, you could take photos of the work you're doing. But then there's even more. You can screencast, screen record, film yourself, draw. There's a lot of stuff that you can do on here. So I definitely recommend giving it a try, even if it's not one of the goals for today. That's a new tool that you learned. So you did learn something. You've already met your goal.
So just a quick question though. You said the free version only has 3 pads, but we can like erase those pads at the end of the week and reuse them, right?
100%. You can,
as a workaround. Okay.
Yep. Because you can, and then you could also you can download your pad, so you can download it as a PDF and still keep the information.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can also, and this is being recorded, but I'm going to say it anyway. You can happen to have more than one email address too. So
you know what? I might have to have those, so that makes sense.
Just saying, you know, I'm guilty of doing that. Beg, borrow, and steal. So we make it work. All right. So I'm going to head back over to the slide deck. Like I said before, you could either follow along and just watch me on my screen right now, because I'm going to go through the pieces of slides that I wanted to talk about, or you could feel free to just like listen to me talk and you can do what you need to do in another tab. That's entirely up to you. Okay. I want you to do what works best. So right now I'm going to head on into creating and modifying slides. So one of the things that, we traditionally do is that we go into our drive, or we open up slides.google.com, and we probably just create a blank slide deck. So I'm going to do that with you right now. What I did over here was I just linked a folder that I had so that I didn't have to go anywhere else. I just threw a link in to a folder, and the folder is called Google Training Templates. And what I want to do in here is I want to start a new slide deck for myself. So I'm going to click on slides, create and share. Keep in mind that whenever you have a shared folder, whoever is shared on that folder, whatever you create inside of it, they'll have access to. So once we're here, pretty simple. You have your base of the shell of your slide deck, right? Always come on over to the top and give it template for today. Okay. And we can just simply go in here and we can decide, do we want it to just be white? Do we want it to be something fancy? Do we want it to be whatever it is? So we'll pick Swiss for now, and then we'll close out the themes. Themes can be changed periodically up at the top. So you'll see you have your toolbar that lives here. And if you decide midway through your presentation, I hate the way this looks, I'm going to do this. Same thing with readability, because sometimes, you know, not sometimes, all the time, we have to kind of be aware of like how accessible it is to our students, whether it's our special ed students, whether it's our ENL students, whether it's everybody, because anybody who even just wears glasses has some type of disability when it comes to how they're able to view something on a screen, right? So we need to be mindful of like the color contrast that we use. So black might not be suitable, or it might be suitable. So I'm going to click on this one and I will X out of my themes again. What I did on my slide, this slide deck that was over here, was I manipulated my master slides. So normally what I would do is I would do slide by slide. I can change each one and add elements on there. But if there are things that I want to be on every single slide and I don't want to keep on adding them, I can change my master slide. For example, see on every single one of these slides, I have the home, the house up at the top right. I didn't do those one by one. I'll show you how I did those on my master slides. So come on up here to format. Sorry, I'm in the wrong spot. Where am I? Here we go. We come up here to slide, right? And we click on edit master. So this is going to pull up your theme from soup to nuts. Okay. So what I did was I started here because this is the master slide. These are the types of fonts, the fonts that come with this. You can make changes to it if you want, or you can just leave them as is. So for example, if I click on this, right, the default font is Railway. If I don't want it to be Railway, I don't think it's user friendly, I could change it to this, and it's going to change the header, the titles on for the rest of my slides. So I don't have to do it independently on each one. This is a quick way to do it quick. And then the subsequent ones as I follow along, I can change these as well. Okay. But for right now, I'll actually go back to the, I'll leave it at that. And I can also make it larger or smaller. The other thing I can do, just so you, for organization purposes, click rename. This might be Jackie's copy for October. Now I know that this is the copy that I made for October, and this is how I like to have it set up. What I did was to add that home button. That home button actually is a dynamic link. So it links back to the main slide. So I'll show you how I did that. I went into images. So some of the stuff that we'll look at later on is also looking at how to insert images, but I'll touch on it here. I could upload from my computer. I could search the web. I can also pull in from my Google Drive. Maybe you have pictures of students or student work. But for right now, I'm going to click search on the web. And all I did was put in home icon. And I clicked this. And then I click insert. This is exactly the same as it looks whenever you're going to insert anything on your slides. And then I made it smaller and I moved it over. Okay. So now what I want you to notice is that it is now on every other slide in my slide deck. The other thing I want to do is I want to add a link to this image. So you're able to, so I want people to be able to go back. This right here, this is my title slide. This is going to be my first slide, and I want every slide to have the ability to go back to my home slide in case they get lost. So what I'll do is, since we have the ability to link inside of the document, we're able to link slides to each other. You'll see when you click on an icon and you come up here. So we have our toolbar up at the top. We click on the chain link. This is the universal sign for link. I could either paste in a link to an outside source like I did before with Padlet, or more importantly, I could link to a slide in the presentation. So see right here, I only have one slide. So I click slide 1 and I click apply. What that does now, every single one of these slides, if I was to click on this during my presentation, would bring me back to that main slide. So that's how you're able to edit and manipulate an entire slide deck. So I'm going to just add in another slide so that you could see that. Okay, see, there's this one. And again, we came up here. So just to talk about adding new slides, I could either just click the plus button and it'll duplicate the last slide that I had, or I can click on the caret next to it and I could get specific on which slide I want to pop up next. All right. So that's how we change the master slides, and that's how we add a link into an image. Now, I like to use, let me go back down to it. The Slides Go. I don't know if you've used outside templates, but this has free slides templates and other templates that you can use inside of your drive. So some of the real nice ones that like maybe you don't have the time to make, I know I don't have the time to make, you can head on over to Slides Go and it'll make a copy. So you don't always have to use the templates that are slugged for slides in here. You can get fancier by heading on over to this one and checking out some of the things that they have. They have some really nice stuff and really thoughtful ideas, which is why I was saying before, like, you know, what else can you use this for? Like this can be used for a reflection journal. This could be used for a student to keep their digital portfolio information here. It could be used for whatever it is. Could be used for a daily planner. But this particular site might give you some ideas on how it is that you can use slides in a different way. So I'm going to get out of here. All right. So some of the other things that we can do within here, and I briefly touched on it a few seconds ago, is that you're able to add in your slides, right? But you're also able to move them around. So it's easy enough that all you have to do is drag and drop. So anytime you need to move a slide out of the way or reorder what you have, you just have to drag and drop and you'll see that this slide moves up and down. Same thing with making modifications to a specific slide. So if I want to make a change, let's say to slide number 2, all I have to do is right click. So I'm on a Mac, I hit Control and I hit my mouse. If you're on a regular Windows or Lenovo, you can right click and you'll have this menu pop up. Okay. You have lots of different things that you can do, right? You can copy, you can paste, you can add a new slide right from here. You could also duplicate a slide, which helps if you are doing something that requires you to kind of continually create something that's the same. This also skip slide, which I use often, because what this means is in a presentation, when I go into presentation format, you won't see this slide. We see it now, but you won't see it when you're presenting, but it still lives here. So you don't have to go and delete things. I have a million presentations with a lot of skip slides because I don't want to delete stuff. So I'm going to add some content on here. Jackie's presentation. Right. I type some information on here. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to delete this box and I'm going to insert, like we did before, I'm going to insert an image. So again, I'm going to come over to image and I'm going to pull in from the web again. And I'm going to pull in, oops. I'm going to search on the web. I'm going to look for, let's see, Google Docs. So again, very simple, just pulling in images as we need. If you have anything on your computer, which let's see what I have on my computer, upload from the computer. Oh, look, see, I can upload. I have the mood meter that I did yesterday. I can upload a JPEG I created on Canva. I'll put this on here and I'll leave that right on the side. All right. So those are your very basic inserting of images. The other thing, and I don't know, and again, I apologize if you already know this, but I think this is very important, especially with older students, actually younger students too, because they might not know what they did wrong. But when you're creating something, when you're creating a slides document or even a regular doc, it's important to know that there's a file history area, a version history. So if you come on over to File you'll see this, something that says version history. You're able to see what was done over the course of time. So this was only created today at 2:30. So you're not going to see much more than that. And you'll see that this is what it looked like upon the first creation. But you'll see every single edit that has happened since I started this. So just in case either somebody erases something or somebody writes something that's inappropriate, if they're signed in, you will be able to see the breadcrumb trail of where everything lived. All right. So it's a really good tool to have in case. So if by any chance there's something here I want to copy, I'll see that this is what it looked like beforehand. I could restore to that version, or I could lift the information from here and add it to the slide the way it was. Or one step further, more actions, I can make a copy of this version. So if by any chance I need to have these two side by side, the one that I'm working on now and then the one that we did last week, I could make a copy of the version, and I can have them side by side. So I find this to be extremely helpful. I was in a situation once where my entire presentation, my curriculum map got completely deleted, and you learn the hard way how to rectify things. So version history, very, very helpful. Okay. We went over linking slides, but I do think that again, it could be good for like a create your own adventure in high school, even middle school, or for a table of contents. So if I'm working on, let's say, I'm going to put in, I'll put in numbers. We'll do it that way. Okay. Section 1, section 2, section 1, section 2, and section 3. We'll just sit with those, right? These might be the topics for maybe you have breakout groups, right? They're working on group projects or whatever it is. Okay. So I have this right here. And what I'll do is I'm just going to make it a little bit larger by highlighting it and coming up here and making it larger. What I'll do is I'm going to unhide this. So I right click it. I'm not going to skip it. And I'm going to make these 3 slides, 2, 3, and 4, the slides that connect to these topic areas. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to highlight this. Okay. I'm going to come on up here to the chain link. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click slides presentation. Okay. And I'm going to look for the slide I want it to go to. So the slide I want it to go to is slide 2. Right? And then I click apply. And then I'm going to do the same exact thing for this one. I click highlight it. I click insert link. I click presentation. And move this down a little bit so we can see. Move down. Okay, there we go. We click this. Click slides presentation. And then we scroll down again. I'm going to look for slide 3. All right. So again, the idea is that this is acting as maybe a landing pad. So I can say to my students, you're at the table of contents, find your slide and start completing your group project or start reading the information based on our topic for today. But this is just a way to kind of point people in the direction that they need to go. Some of the other things that we're going to move on to, which are on the next slide, is what can you insert? Right? To have conversation or to make your slides more engaging. So commenting, charts, and videos are just some of the things that you can add into here. So if I wanted to, we're always going over to insert to see what we could put in. Videos, is the most common thing. The problem with that is that it links directly to YouTube. So you can always go to any site, right, that has a URL. You can copy the URL and you could put it into your slide deck. But this connects directly with YouTube, so you can search on here, and it'll embed itself right away. So I'm going to go type in Google Slides. Let's see if there's any good videos on Google Slides. Okay, how do I make my slides? I'll select this one, and I will insert it. Right? I'm going to put it right over here to sit on there. Okay. And then I have some options for my video playback. Do I want it to play on the click? Do I want it to go automatically or manual? I usually just leave it play on click. Okay, and then we leave it as it is, or you can have it stop all the different, components that you want to do based on when you're presenting this. Okay. The other thing that I find crucial is the commenting feature. So I put in video. What a student could do, or you can do, either to give feedback, or they can give feedback to each other, or just notes, adding in the comments. So 2 different ways you can add in a comment. You could either, again, right click. So I right clicked here, right next to where I'm typing, and there's the comment button right here. Or I can come on over to insert, always go to insert, and I can click comments here. And same thing like on Google Docs and on Sheets, you're able to add in a message to either yourself, so you remember to go back to it, or it could be to somebody else who is on your team or in your class. Please explain this video and why it is in the slides. The thing with that is that this comment is going to live on here. The only way I would know that it's there is because I was scrolling through and I happened to see it. If I want to assign this to someone and I want to draw someone's attention to the comment, I'm going to have to hit the @ or I could also do the plus. I could do @ or plus. It doesn't matter. They do the same thing. And then I could direct it to someone. So this is my teammate Liz, and she's going to be like, oh, here we go. Jackie's sending me random things again. I do this to my team all the time. And then I click assign to Liz. And what happens is Liz gets a notification. So Liz is going to get an email to this email, and it's going to bring her to this particular spot in the presentation. When she clicks on the link, it's going to say, Liz, you have an assignment. And when Liz is done with it, she can mark it as done. Right. And all of these comments, just like in Docs, live up here once they are resolved. So if I was to click on this and say it was done, it would live up here where all of our old comments are. So you'd have a nice stream of what happened throughout the process. If you want to be able to document the journey, or see how your students are doing, or see how the conversation has been going and that they've been growing. So the last part of inserting is inserting charts from that they've created in here, or creating charts from the outside. So I will insert a chart. So again, we'll go over to insert, right? And we come over here, chart. You could pull in right from Sheets. So if you have a chart, you can do it right from here. You can add in bar, column, line, or pie. That is entirely up to you. But you have those options inside of here, okay? And then you would have to edit it in Sheets in order to make it sensible. So you would have to come in here and put in the information, or maybe the students are doing it. Whoever it is, you can just have them do it right from there. Or if they had a project already where they created a chart, that's where you can come to insert chart, and it pulls right in from Sheets. So again, like I mentioned before, all of our systems and apps all talk to each other. So we would come in here and I could pull in any of these that I have. Also, in that same breath, you also have diagrams. So if you are looking for them to think in a systematic way, or to complete a specific task, they can pull in from the different graphics that are over here. So if it is a timeline, if they are working on an ELA project, or if they are working on a writing project or research, they can use this as a visual representation of something that they're doing to keep themselves at pace. So those are sort of the big items that we can talk about, and we only have about 5 minutes left. But those are the things that I find the most exciting in terms of the engagement piece inside of slides. And that's not including, I haven't even gotten to using any of the add-ons or that type of stuff, but you always have the ability to use add-ons inside of your slide deck. And again, that'll be another session, but there are many ways to kind of enhance what is already here. Many people use Pear Deck or Nearpod. Those are, again, freemiums, but those are things that will enhance the experience of the slides that you're creating too. But if you're not using that, you don't want to get into the paid stuff, and we're sticking with solely free versions, there are definitely many ways that you can do that type of stuff inside of slides. So the last thing I want to show you is the present mode. So you notice that I've been in just kind of my editing working mode this whole time. I'm going to come on over to present mode. So I can just hit present and it'll just show you my whole entire screen, right? Show you my whole screen. I can't really do much. I can click through, but when I click on anything, it takes me out of the full screen anyway. One of the things that I like to do is I like to click next to the present button and it says presenter view. So it automatically opens up inside of the web browser, which I like. I just think it's easier to manipulate that way, especially right now. Kind of you're flying blind when you're presenting, essentially, right? Like when you're sharing your screen, you can't really see much of anything. I think that this is an easier view. This right here that popped up is the back end audience tools and things that you could do in presenter mode. So this is where, like, I wouldn't have this up because speaker notes can be seen by you right now, but you could have your speaker notes up if you had a second device. But the other thing is the audience tools. So audience tools, I'll click start new. You can have your audience, your students, whoever's on, engaging in Q&A while you are presenting. So you saw that I clicked that on and it says accepting questions from NYC DOE. I would need to change that if I wanted, well, I think Tottenville's whitelisted, but it doesn't matter. I would have to change it to anyone just in case you weren't in, we're not in the same domain. And what'll happen is now, if you guys went to slides.app.google and put this in, you would see this and you would be able to, you would see the questions on the back end. You would see like this question prompt. You could actually go to it. I'll leave it up so you can see what it looks like.
Which one?
If you put this in, you'll see a Q&A screen pop up.
Okay.
Okay. And just while you're getting into it, the purpose of this is so that while you're doing a lesson or you're presenting to someone, the back end, and again, I'll show you what it looks like. It's collecting all of your questions in a Q&A format. So I could look back over and be like, oh, okay. So Katie doesn't, she wants me to do X, Y, and Z, or my students are having an issue with coming up with counter arguments or whatever it is. And then it saves it as well. So you can refer back to it. So I'm going to head on over here. So if you're in it, you can just
yeah. I want just to try if it's working.
Okay. Yeah, you could just put in anything you want for right now. There we go. Right. So I see Sana put in hello. I could vote it up. So if you do say to them, whatever question you think, find the questions that you think are most pertinent, you can have them vote those questions up so you can see what maybe the issues are. And then I could also present it on my screen. So I could say, this is the number one question that everybody's asking about. See, it's on the screen now, and then I can click hide and it goes away. Right. So, and this banner will stay on here the whole time I'm presenting. So it doesn't matter what I'm going through. It will stay on there for my students or my participants to be able to see. This is one of my favorite things that came out a couple of years ago, along with the closed captioning, which they've enhanced. So down here, when I'm in present mode, if I click on my closed captioning, it should, well, it's obviously not, oh, there we go. It's going to capture everything that I say. So you should be seeing on my screen, the one that I'm presenting on, whatever I'm saying populate on on the screen. So this is helpful for anybody who might be hard of hearing. It does not translate yet. So if I click here, it tells me the positioning, so I could change it to the top as well. And then I could also change the text size depending on what the need is. It doesn't change languages yet. That would be very helpful. And I'm hoping that will be in time, but this is what it is for right now. So, and then you have your other basic information on here. So you could see your notes, you have your pointer, which kind of draws people's attention to things. And then again, I can see my speaker notes, and then I can download my whole presentation as a PDF. But for right now, I'm going to exit the slides. I'm going to ask you ladies, if there is anything else. I know I touched on a lot of stuff. And if there is anything that you want to work on either in the future, I'm going to ask if you can take a couple of minutes to head back over to the Padlet. Just put in what are some of the other questions that you have moving forward, like what are some of the other things that you want to know about, and those are the things that I could address in the next time we meet. And if you could just, you don't have to do it right now, if you could just put in your reflection, and you could either do an idea that you have for using slides now, maybe you had an aha moment, and or if you do have an artifact that you create based on this. So again, they don't have to be done right this second, but I am going to ask that, you take a couple of minutes. We have until this is over at 3 o'clock. Just consider the reflections, the idea sharing, and the questions you still have. And then you can always come back to it and put it in at a later time. And I'm going to stop the recording.
Thank you, Jackie.